dear students, how are you all? I hope you all are doing good. Today we are going to start the new chapter of class 7th NCERT textbook, that is Forest, Our Lifeline. So basically in this chapter we're going to cover certain topics which is related to forest. So let's see what we are going to cover in this chapter. Alright. So in this chapter we are going to learn about the definition of forest, what are forests, the ecosystem from which the forests are included. All right, how does the forest help in our ecosystem? So in this topic we are also going to learn what is ecosystem, how many types of ecosystem are there, and why we are learning about forest in terms of ecosystem. And then we will learn about types of forest and of course the layers of forest. So we will go in depth in the topic and we will revise what do you mean by forest and how many layers of forest are present. Okay, and then at the end we are going to learn the importance of forest, how does a forest depletion occurs, and how does we can restore or conserve the forest. That we have also learned in the previous chapter, how we are going to conserve the water. Similarly in this chapter we are going to learn about the conservation of forest. Now we are going to see each content one by one. Alright, so we are going to start with the definition of forest. So we all are familiar about the forest, yes, the jungle. So deep down we are going to study how does this forest is important to us, okay, and what is actually the forest is. So a forest is a large area dominated, or you can say majority of this area is covered with the trees and other vegetation. Then forests cover about 31% of Earth's land area. So we already know that 70 to 71% is covered with water. The Earth is covered with water. Then the leftover 31% is of forest. Means that is greener. The Earth is greener. About 31% of Earth is greener because of the presence of forest. They are the habitat to countless species and plays a crucial role in maintaining the ecological balance. So habitat means home, where all the diverse species are living. All right, so it is a home for several species present on the earth. Now the question occurs, what are forest habitat? Means who all are living in this forest, whose home is considered as forest. So a forest habitat is a diverse ecosystem that includes trees, shrubs, plants, and variety of animals, which are birds, mammals, insects. The forest provides a home for all these organisms. So the ecosystem, forest is a part of ecosystem that is a home for varied species, including the trees, the mammals, the birds. We have already learned about the herbs, shrubs, trees in the class 6th video. If you don't know about them, you can just go and scroll down in the videos. In the video section you can find the topic trees, so where you can learn about the different types of trees. So since the forest is a part of ecosystem, so it is important for us to know what is ecosystem. What is ecosystem? You already know about the environment, right? So environment, what do you mean by environment? Environment is actually the surrounding, right? Our surrounding is known as environment, right? Now in this surrounding, as we can see around, we can see two major things, right? The abiotic components and the biotic components, also known as living and non-living components, right? So in biotic components, we treat them as a living components or the living organisms. And abiotic, we treat them as the non-living components. In abiotic components, majorly we covered like air, water, sunlight, right? These all are abiotic components. And in the biotic components, we count us as biotic components. All those which have life in them is known as biotic components. So this is environment, which includes the two major things, which are abiotic and biotic components. So in the system in which both of these abiotic and non-biotic components are interacting with each other to have a good survival or to have a beneficial, productive, efficient survival, is known as the ecosystem, the system in which both biotic and abiotic components are interacting with each other, okay, or taking helps with each other so that they can survive in a good condition. So this is known as ecosystem, and forest plays a very beneficial role in this ecosystem because we already know that forests have trees, and trees provide us with the oxygen, and we humans give trees carbon dioxide, right? So this forms the whole ecosystem. Ecosystem is a structural and functional unit of ecology where the living organisms interact with each other and the surrounding environment. An ecosystem is a chain of interactions between organisms and their environment. Alright, so now we are going to study what are the two major type of ecosystem and where does the forest line up, or in which ecosystem does the forest comes. Alright, so an ecosystem can be small as an oasis in a desert or as big as an ocean spanning thousands of miles, right? So majorly there are two types of ecosystem, the terrestrial one and the aquatic one. As the name suggests, terrestrial is the land one, land ecosystem, and aquatic means water ecosystem. Alright, so in the terrestrial ecosystem we majorly learn about land-based community of organisms and the interactions of biotic and abiotic components in a given area. So it involves the forest, grassland, tundra and desert. We are going to see one by one. So now we know that forest comes under which ecosystem? The terrestrial ecosystem or the land ecosystem. So in forest, as we already studied, that forest is a part or the area which is dominated by trees and animals which live in coordination. And grassland is majorly where the land which is fulfilled or filled with the vegetation or dominated by the grasses and herbs. Now the tundra region is basically the region which is at very low temperature, okay, or the components which are surviving at very low temperature. And the desert which is which is very little precipitation occur, or there is no rainfall there, okay. So the conditions or the living conditions are hostile for plants and animals living here in deserts. Now we are going to see different layers of forest. So as we have already learned what is forest, forest is a part of ecosystem, and under which ecosystem the forest comes under the terrestrial ecosystem. Now we are going to learn major layers of forest to know more about the forest. So my dear students, forest is being divided into 4 different layers. First is emergent layer, which you can see the long trees are known as emergent layer, the tallest trees reaching for the sunlight. So in their basic motto of trees and plants is to reach out for the sunlight so they can produce food and keep themselves survive, right? So the first layer is emergent layer, which covers all the tall heighted trees which can reach for the sunlight. Then there is canopy layer, the dense covering of foliage that absorbs more sunlight. I am going to show you some pictures which depict all these layers. Don't worry. Understory layer, where all the shrubs and small trees thriving for the limited light. So they can't reach out for the light, so they thrive for the light. So they keep on standing together to thrive the light. Then the forest floor, which are rich in nutrients, home to decomposers, means the trees which are just lined up inside on the land of the forest. We are going to see the pictures which depict the different layers of forest. So this one, as you can see, these are the tall heighted trees. These means emergent layer of the forest. Okay. All the tall high trees comes under the emergent layer of forest. Then the second one is the canopy trees. You can see this is the canopy in which some lights are trapping or coming from the canopies of the trees. So trees usually form some canopies in which the sunlight just filter out and comes to the land. Alright, so this is the canopy layer of the forest, and this you can see this is the understory layer. Okay, understory layer where the shrubs and small trees are thriving in limited light. And the last one is this one, which is known as the forest floor. Okay, so this is covered by the decomposers. You can see this is the tree lying down in the land, and all these are decomposers which are taking food from these trees. So these are the different layers of forest. So as for now, in this topic we have covered what are forest, about the ecosystem, about the different types of ecosystem, and then we have learnt about the different layers of forest. In the upcoming video or in the part 2 of this topic, we are going to cover different types of forest, the depletion of forest, and how can we conserve the forest. So you can learn more about the forest from this topic. And if you have any doubts, just comment down below. I'm going to meet you in the part 2 section of this topic. Alright, till then, keep on learning and keep on revising. Bye.